This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy, specialized in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com. Hey, this is Andrew Guy with AndrewGuySpeaks.com, reminding you that we're building people, connecting communities, and we're growing teams. Today we're talking about the power of reading. The power of reading. Now, reading for me is a lifesaver, really. And I want to encourage our students, our youth, to get into a book. Just get lost in a book. And today's program, I'm going to be focusing on how reading saved my life. It is ironic that most times we think that we have to travel across the globe to see an author or to meet someone or just to be introduced to someone that may be a person of fame, a person of notoriety, or whatever the case may be. Let's just say it's someone that you think that's more important than you are, right? Which is not necessarily the case. But in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the power of reading and how it saved my life. Now, going back as far as I can remember, when I was like 2 or 3 years old, I remember that I was frustrated. There were parts of my life where I was just frustrated. And looking back now, hindsight 2020, I'm realizing that part of that frustration is that lack of ability to read. And so I travel now and I fast forward to, let's say, some many years later. I'm realizing that there is a power that reading gives you that no other encounter in life or human experience can actually give you this particular feeling. There is something about reading that allows you to travel anywhere in the world without even have to leave your house or even leave your neighborhood. Reading helps you to imagine. Reading helps you to ask questions. I wonder what happens next. I wonder what if. Did that really happen? There is something about reading that encapsulates the human spirit and energize it, ignite it, and set it on fire for growth. And so, I'm doing this special program where I'm going into schools and I'm bringing some of my books, as a matter of fact, and I'm reading them to students, to especially boys, to let them see that there is something powerful about reading. I remember when I was, in my early teens, I didn't know how to read, even at 14 years old, and I was very, very frustrated. I couldn't think of a better way to put it than just saying that I felt like I was lost. And for a person that believes in God, it's an oxymoron, because how do you get to know the Creator without actually reading His Word? So if you can't read His Word, then you really don't know what He has said, other than if you download that directly into your brain. But that's just a side note. There's a power that reading gives each and every one of us that no one else can take away from you. It's almost as if you've gone to college and you've gotten your degree or your certificate. Once you've gotten that, once it's been awarded to you, no one else can take it away from you. And going above that, when you know how to read, no one else can take that from you. I remember my frustration just looking at books. I didn't even want to see books. Yes, I spend a lot of time in the library, but it was just really to look at the pictures or to browse the internet, to look at the pictures on the internet. I didn't have a clue how to string words together. You talk about a person who is a machine operator, but they don't know how to actually thread the needles so they can sew the particular piece of cloth or garment that they're trying to do. It just doesn't work. So I empower youth across the globe, in the classroom especially, to embrace reading. And the youth that I'm focusing on this year is really males, because readers, I hate to say it and sound so cliche, but readers are leaders. And if you're not leading your life in the direction where you want to go, you will be following someone else's message wherever they take you. And so there's a major difference when a person knows how to read and a person who knows how to lead. So that's one way that reading affects your life in terms of your leadership ability. This episode is brought to you by GladShare Media, GladShareMedia.com, publishers of Work Your Words and Finding Your Pathway to Personal Success, and The Anatomy of the Kingdom and the Power of Community, Exchanging Religion for a Life of Function and Purpose. Both books are available at Amazon.com and GladShareMedia.com. Be sure to check them out and pick up a copy and tell a friend. Remember, GladShareMedia.com. Another way that reading affects your life is it gives you that level of confidence that no one else can give you. That you can pick up a newspaper, you can even pick up a book, and you can actually read and extrapolate some information. And then now it's no longer words on a page. Man, this is information. And then when I take this information and assemble it into a particular way or pattern, then this is now data which I can use to guide and to make my life work and to make a plan for my life. But if I don't know how to read, I have taken away or given up a good 60 to 70% of my power to succeed in life. Boys, I want to tell you, one of the greatest things that you can do is learn how to read. This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy, specialized in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com. Reading not only saved my life, but it has empowered me to become a more effective communicator. If a person doesn't know how to read, it affects their ability to communicate with the next person, because we communicate through words, right? But another way, a more effective way to communicate with people is through the written word, because a lot of times you may want to say something to someone, and based on the mindset that you have or your temperament, you may not say it the way that would benefit the next person. In other words, if you write it down, it gives you more time to structure that piece of communication in a way that's more palatable for the next person to digest it, instead of just basing it on your emotion. So I know that I went off, I'm talking about now writing, but every reader is a writer. I mentioned that because every reader is a writer. If you can read, you can write, because reading is nothing more than just communicating with the author. So if you are the reader, it's like a reader having a conversation, a direct conversation with the author. And it doesn't matter. Here's the best part. You don't have to go to Spain to meet an author who's a Spanish author. You don't have to go to the Caribbean to meet a Caribbean author. You don't have to go to Asia. You don't have to go to Europe. You don't have to go to Africa to meet one of those famous authors. You can pick up their book and visit them in the privacy of your home, in the back of your car, underneath a tree in the summer. This is so powerful reading is. And I just want you to be encouraged today as you listen to this podcast, that if you just spend at least 15 minutes a day just reading, you will change your life forever. Reading is where it is. And it's funny that several years ago, there was this saying in the black community that if you want to hide something from a person of color, you put it in a book. And I mean, that's a slap in the face, but it is true. And it's not just for colored people, it's for people of all nation, all race, all background. If you want to hide something from them, don't put it in the news, because then it's going to be convoluted with a whole bunch of commercial and mixed messages. But if you truly want to hide something from anyone, you just put it in a book, because not many people read. And with the way the world is going nowadays with instant gratification and quick information and just pictures and just give it to me short, bite-sized, where I can swallow it, reading has become a pastime act where it's almost like it's ancient. No one wants to read anymore. Most of the devices that they have are one that reads to them. No one want to pick up a book anymore and just dive into the book and just lose themselves for a good 30 or 40 minutes. This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy, specialize in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com. I mean, there is a power that we're actually giving up when we decide not to read. Reading is like nutrients to the plant. Reading is like water to the trees. Reading is like oxygen to your somatic cells in your body. If you don't breathe, listen, you cannot live. And so reading is fundamental to your personal growth and development. Whew. I know I've said a lot. I've said more than a mouthful. I'm passionate about this thing. I'm passionate about reading because reading saved my life, y'all. Let me tell you something. I remember when I couldn't read. I remember when I got to the library and I look at all these wonderful books and they were so colorful. Any book that didn't have a picture, I didn't look at it because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what the author was trying to say to me. I struggled in school. I struggled to communicate effectively because I couldn't put my words together because my vocabulary was limited. Listen, guys, let me tell you something. As a man, ladies, they always read. So I don't have to talk to the ladies right now. I'm talking just men. I don't care what your color is. I don't care where you come from. I don't care about how tall or short you are. I don't care what the income of your household is. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, readers are leaders and leaders are achievers. Readers are leaders, leaders are achievers. Your success is directly connected to your ability to read and extrapolate information and turn it into data so you can plan and live your life successfully. I will say that again. Reading is fundamental to your personal growth and success, where you extrapolate information, written information, turn it into data so you can plan your life so you can live successfully. Reading is a way of life. It's like oxygen. Here's another example. Why should I want to learn how to read? Okay, I'm not even going to try to convince you, but why would you want to learn how to read? Think about it. This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy, specialize in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com. At some point in your life, you're going to want to get a driver's license. In order for you to get a driver's license, you're going to have to learn how to, that's right, say it out loud, say it proud, read. That's exactly right. And let's say, for example, forget it. You don't want to drive. You want to be one of those people that are nomads. And then you drive around in your two God-given Lexuses. And Lexuses, fellas, I'm talking about your legs becoming a car. So basically, you're going to be walking it everywhere you go. Okay? So let's say, for example, you decide to be one of those individuals who are creative and just want to roll around on your two Lexuses, right? So you're driving your Lexuses now, right? And then you come up to a stop sign or an intersection that says turn left. And the reason why the intersection light information says turn left is because you cannot go right, because right is a dead end. But how would you know that if you don't know how to read? Unless, say, for example, you were invited to this wonderful party. I mean, it was off the chain, right? And your friends invited you to this party. You jumped in the car and your friend is on the highway, but they got sidetracked with all the traffic and everything like that. And so therefore, you said to your friend, could you please, help me out with this driving? Your friend said to you, by the way, hey, I'm new in this area. Please check the signs and I'm looking for this exit. I'm on the highway and we're going about 80 miles an hour and I need to know for sure when I reach my exit. You wouldn't be able to help. You would sit there like a dummy and your mouth will remain shut and you will be stressed, beads of sweat coming up on your face and your forehead. And your friend will look back at you and say, well, man, what's wrong with you? The AC's on. I'm cool. What's going on? Little did your friend know that you don't know how to read. And because you don't know how to read, you panic and you're panic stricken and you can't speak and you feel stupid because you cannot give your friend the instructions to help him with the direction to get to the party. It turns out at the end of the day, you were on the highway driving in almost forever, and you never able to get to that destination. Why? Because you didn't know how to read, to help your friend, to tell your friend, hey, listen, that's your exit. Get off here so we can get to the party. Reading is essential to your way of life. If you're not reading, you're not achieving. And if you're not achieving, you're not growing. But before you can even grow, even before you can even achieve, even before you can even overcome, even before you can become a leader, you must know how to read.
This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy, specialized in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com.
There are different kinds of reading. There's reading for leisure, and there's reading just for fun, and there's reading just for growth, where you're reading to get some information so you can do something with it. Let's say, for example, your parents bought you this brand new laptop. I mean, it is a game changer, man. As a matter of fact, it was a game laptop. It's fast. You don't have to wink and it will just turn itself on. But there are some things that you need to understand about the laptop before you start using it. And it comes in a little booklet called a manual. So let's say, for example, let's separate the UL, right? So man, you are a man, you're a male. You got to know how to read that manual before you can get the full use of your computer. So let's say, for example, man, I don't need that. You said to yourself, I don't need to know how to read. Man, this computer is so fast, I can snap my finger and it will do exactly what I needed to do. But the strange thing is that you using your computer at that pace with that limited amount of knowledge, you will only be using 50% of that computer. You will only be able to access 50% of that computer. The other 50% of that computer is hidden in a manual. And if you don't learn to extrapolate that information, apply that information, make the computer more functional and to operate at its optimal best, then you're wasting your time. Your parents wasted their money, and they should never have given you a laptop, because you need to know how to read the manual to withdraw the other 50% that's trapped inside the computer. Now, life is the same way. If you don't know how to read, you will not be able to extract most of the value that requires you to live a successful life. And I'm not just talking about success as in an intangible thing that just happened to some people. Success in life is really when your purpose gets you to a destination that impacts other people so their life can change and they too can realize their purpose and why they were created. Now, readers train themselves. Readers get developed. Readers empower themselves to empower other people. Some of the greatest leaders in the world are readers. You think about Bill Gates. You think about those great men and women, the Oprah Winfreys of life. You're talking about President Obama, just to name a few people. These people are readers. Everywhere you go, everyone that you see that's actually doing something with themselves, for themselves, and using their gifts to impact other people's life, they're readers. Now, my great friend and buddy and former president, Abraham Lincoln, they call him Honest Abe. Abe didn't know how to read. He was like dyslexic. He couldn't read. And he trained himself how to read. And from that alone, this man became a lawyer, and then he became one of the greatest presidents of the United States of America. All because of the power of reading. Now, let me bring it close to home. Look at yours truly. I couldn't read at age 14 years old. I was frustrated. Many of you out there are listening to me and you're like, whatever, man, reading, that's overrated. Let me tell you something. It's not overrated. It is life threatening. At 14 years old, I was so frustrated. My communication skills were terrible. They were horrific. I had no confidence whatsoever. And let me tell you something. I didn't only learn how to read. I forced myself how to read. Think of it as a person who's supposed to take a particular vitamin every day. And in doing so, it makes him vomit. It makes him sick to his stomach because, I got to take this vitamin. It tastes terrible. And I have to take it because it's going to make me live. The same thing with reading. I looked at reading as a vitamin. And I started reading for 15 minutes a day. And then I was like, whoa, I started reading for 20 minutes. And then the 20 minutes went to 25 minutes. And then the 25 minutes went to 30 minutes. And then, whoa, I started reading for an hour. And I started loving it because I was discovering worlds that I know if I didn't have the money and if I wasn't a billionaire, I wouldn't even get a chance to travel to these places. But I picked up a book, y'all, and I went to Africa. I picked up a book, I went to the Bahamas. I picked up a book, I went to Europe. I picked up a book, I just traveled. That's how I got to learn about different places, because I was reading. My life changed. Not only did my life change, I went to college. I went and got my associate's degree. I didn't only just finish college, but I graduated from high school when I was 17 years old. I started reading every day that even my grades improved. I graduated at 17 years old, and then after that, went to college at Seneca College in Toronto. And after I graduated from that, I went to Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia, Arkansas. First degree was in biology. Pre-medical biology. Can you believe it? Yours truly, knock on wood, couldn't read. And you're looking at the no reader, the frustrated one. Yeah, that's me, Andrew E. Guy. Learn how to read, went to college, graduated, and finished in medical biology. And then after I finished that, did a minor in exercise science. And then I went to finish up my master's in kinesiology. And then I applied to PT school and was working on my doctorate. And listen, I'm telling you, and the list goes on. So look at this. Not only did I get a chance to live some of my dream, but I'm still not finished yet. I wanted to write books. Listen, I am on my third book and many more to come. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you?
This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy, specialized in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com.
I went from a guy who struggled with reading. I went from a guy who struggled with self-esteem. I went from a guy who struggled with self-identity because he didn't know how to read. Let me tell you something. There is a power in reading. Reading is not only essential, it is a life saver. Reading saved my life. If you are an administrator, if you're a teacher, if you're a school district and you're listening to this right here, please invite me to come and speak to your students. And I only want the male students. I only want to speak to male students because I want to talk to them about the importance of knowing, not just knowing, but loving reading. Because readers are leaders. Readers are achievers. Readers are winners. Readers are champion. And let me just take a little detour here for a second. Most of the male nowadays, they love sports. They look at the TV and they said, wow, that person does a slam dunk if you're a basketball fan. Or if you're a Wayne Gretzky fan or a hockey fan, that person just did a nice slap shot from the left side of the ice. Or that person just did a touchdown. Whatever your sport is. Let's take basketball, for example. If you're a basketball player and you love basketball, you think you're the next great, right? You're the next Michael Jordan. You're going to be the next Scottie Pippen. Or you're going to be the next, or Dr. J. It doesn't matter what you think you're going to be. But did you know that even the greatest basketball player has to know how to read? Because they have to learn how to read the plays. Even though it's X's and O's, they have to learn how to read. Now, for example, let's say you can get through high school basketball or college basketball without even knowing how to read. You can just read the X's and O's. Let's say you make it, hypothetically, to the league of your choice. Basketball or football or hockey, whatever, baseball, you're in there, right? You're going to have to negotiate what's called a contract. The contract is going to determine the terms of your pay and under what conditions you are hired to serve on that team. If you have no idea how to read because you don't think it's important, someone will give you a contract that's in their best interest and does not serve you. Someone will take you to court for whatever reason it may be, and you will lose because you don't know what you're being charged for. Reading is fundamental. Not only isn't it fun, that's right, it increases your mental capacity. The other thing is that, let's say you don't care about a contract. You will hire somebody to read it for you, great, and then they'll, and trust that they'll have your best interest. Wonderful, great. Let's say, for example, that's not your big thing, the thing that's high on your priority game list, right? Okay, fine. Let's take another example. The coach tells you, hey, we're coming up on training season, so, you're a boxer and you need to stay in shape and you have to maintain this amount of body fat, right? Your BMI have to be a certain level. BMI meaning body mass index, right? That's how they measure how much you weigh. And your coach told you, or trainer tells you, hey, I need you to go to the store and I need you to get these foods only. Make sure you read the box to find out how much sodium, how much fat, how much saturated fat and unsaturated fat, our lipids, our carbohydrate that's actually entailed on the nutrition fact bar. Could you imagine going into the store and walking around with all of these food items with different labels on there and you were not able to understand what the coach said? Do you know the frustration that you will be feeling right about then? You will be so frustrated, and the next thing that you're going to do, you might even blame the coach and say the coach is dumb or the coach is stupid. Why is he sending you to go do this stuff? He should be the one that goes and get the stuff and give it to the players. He's a dumb coach. I don't want to be around him. And then you drop yourself off the team, or you got kicked off the team because your attitude got sour. And the coach said, we don't want this on here, kicked you off the team, and there you have it. You're no longer playing your particular sport of choice. And then your talent, your skills go down the drain. Why? Because you didn't decide to read. Okay.
This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy, specialized in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com.
So that's not your situation. You may be saying, Andrew, hey, man, I hear what you're saying, but this sports stuff, man, I think I got it down. I don't have to worry about nutrition. I got a nutritionist that helps me out, so I'm cool with that. I'm all right with that. And I don't go to parties, so I don't have to give somebody direction on the highway. I don't have to worry about, direction because, I have my GPS. You know what I'm saying? It tells me where to go, so I'm a good listener. All right, okay, I got you. And I'm not going to be signing contracts. So I'm okay with that. I trust people. So, I take their word at face value. I trust them. Okay, good. So that's not your issue, right? Okay. So you don't think you need reading, right? Okay. All right. Let's hit home. Everyone believes in something, right? And you say, exactly, right. The answer is yes, in case you didn't know. Everyone believes in something. And let's say, for example, I am a believer, meaning that I'm not religious, but I believe that there's a creator that created all of us. He created all of us and he put a gift inside of us. And he wants us to use this gift to impact the world that will bring him credibility. In the Christian world, they would call it glory. In other religion, they may call it something else. But let's say we're using Christianity for the sake of this conversation. Anything that you do in your life brings glory to God, the creator of all things. Anything that you do that is noteworthy, that is good, that is upright, that helps other people become better at being themselves and finding out their purpose in life, he gets the glory from that. He gets the credibility for that. He gets honor for that. Because when other humans see this, the Bible says this, let your light so shine that other men, not just men, but mankind will see your good works. In my term, I'm saying God works because he put the work in you. You just have to work it out. See your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Glorify meaning that people are going to come up to you and say, man, how did you learn how to do that? Teach me how to do that. Wow, that's amazing. And then you just simply tell them, oh, it's just my creator gave me this gift, so he has taught me how to use it over the years, right? So with that being said, your desire was to get to know this creator. And one of the steps in getting to know your creator is to read the basic instructions before leaving earth. It's spelled Bible. basic instructions before leaving earth. But the strangest thing about most people who are religious, they believe that they don't have to live effectively on earth. They're just waiting to be raptured out of the earth and taken to some heaven somewhere so they can really get their living on. I'm here to tell you that is a false statement. That is a fallacy, and that is untrue. You were put on earth to live effectively before you can go anywhere else. Your job is to live here and to make the best here of what you have by using your gifts to glorify or to validate the one that made you. Enough said. But let's say, for example, you're curious about this creator and you want to find out more about this creator and you want to start reading the Bible or the Word of God. You say you're reading this, but wow, you don't know how to read. How in the world are you going to get to know this creator, this great superior being, if you don't know how to read? How are you going to communicate with him? How are you going to find out what are the things that he wants you to do? How are you going to find out the promises that he has for you? How are you going to find out his ways? How are you going to find out his methods? How are you going to find out his character or his personality? How are you even going to learn about this great creator if you don't know how to read? Are you just going to walk around and just be religious and to throw your hands up and say, hey, I believe in a God that I don't know nothing about? I know that's probably way out there on the limb, and you're not a religious person and you could care less about God, or you can care less about religion, or you could care less about anything. You are just living. But I'm here to let you know you're not really just living. You are really simply existing, because if you're not reading, you're not learning. And if you're not learning, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you won't expand who you are and live your life to its full potential.
This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy, specialized in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com.
And here is the terrible part about it. People who don't live to their full potential, when they die, the world never missed them, because they never know who they were, because they didn't live their purpose and they didn't really even shuffle the dust to make some kind of noise, or even to cause someone to change their direction because you had some message that you could have impart onto them because you are a reader. No, your life would just be a smoke, and no one would have known who you are. Your gifts, your abilities would have gone to the grave. And as I've frequently said, your nutrients in the form of a gift was not meant to go to the trees so the trees can dance about when the wind blows. Your gift does not belong in the earth. It belongs in the hearts of men and women. So it becomes a nutrient that can be used to motivate, to inspire, to educate, to empower those who are desperately in need of your message. And your message doesn't have to be in words. Your message could just be your way of life. Your method could just be your personality. Your method could simply be how you make people feel welcome when they're around you. All of these are a result of reading. A great reader is a person that knows who he or she is. And you can communicate your feelings without reacting to your feelings. Does that make sense? I know that was kind of deep. What I mean by that is most people who don't know how to read, they're frustrated. So if they don't know how to handle a situation, they will just react instead of respond. When you respond, that simply means that you have taken the opportunity to think about it, to put it into perspective, to find out how this particular behavior or response or reactions, for those who don't read, will affect someone else. So a person who's a great reader is a person who understands how to control his or her emotions. It's great for a person to know how to control their emotions because it affects how capable they are of expressing their thoughts to other people.
This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy. Specialize in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com.
I know this is 30 minutes and we're going into the half hour right now, but I just wanted to stop by to encourage every young man out there. Ladies, I know I'm not leaving you out, but if the men know how to read, believe me, it will benefit you. Because if you have a man that knows how to read, then chances are you're going to get a more confident man, you're going to get a better husband, you're going to get a better father in your home, you're going to get a better leader in your home. Readers are achievers. And you're going to get a man who just, listen, he knows who he is and he doesn't have to follow after the fads of life to find out who he is. And if you have a person that knows who they are, comfortable in their own skin, then you have a man that stays at home. And I'm not saying stay at home and sit down, but you have a man that doesn't run around trying to please everyone to find out who he is in somebody else's backyard. Reading is essential. And so my focus is really on young man. If you like this, I ask that you would share it with your friends, male friends, and ladies, if you want to share it with your male sons, I welcome you to do it. But we're talking about reading, the power of reading and how reading saved my life. My name is Andrew Guy, author. Can you imagine? Author, speaker, educator, wellness specialist, and personal development coach. This is Andrew Guy, Andrew E. Guy, saying thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Please share it with your friend and encourage your male sons to read. Encourage your male students to read. Encourage your male youth to read, because in between the pages are the powers to living effectively. This is Andrew Guy for AndrewGuySpeaks.com, reminding you that I am building people, connecting communities, and growing teams where we are impacting lives for a better tomorrow. Look me up online. It's www.AndrewGuySpeaks.com. I am on Twitter. That is Andrew Guy Speaks. I'm on LinkedIn. That is Andrew Guy Speaks. I am also on Facebook. Look me up. This is Andrew Guy for AndrewGuySpeaks.com, reminding you that we're building people, connecting communities, and we're growing teams. Be sure to check out my book, Work Your Words and Finding Your Pathway to Personal Success. My other book, The Anatomy of the Kingdom and the Power of Community. And my other book, Somebody Has Got My Yes. All available at Amazon.com or GladshareMedia.com or AndrewGuySpeaks.com. Administrators, if you're listening to this, bring me in to speak to your youth to help them know that reading saved my life and it can save their life. Take care until then. Peace.
This episode is brought to you by AndrewGuySpeaks.com, impacting lives for a better tomorrow. AndrewGuySpeaks.com, the official website of international speaker, author, leadership, and development trainer Andrew E. Guy. Specialize in building people, connecting communities, and growing teams. Learn more by visiting our website at AndrewGuySpeaks.com.